What's up, guys? The Explorer 4 here. Welcome back to some more reviews. And today, we're getting to one of my favorite films to watch around this time of year. And like I said, I just kind of wanted to throw in some random stuff in between me doing the Wes Craven reviews. And one of the things I wanted to throw in was a review for Creepshow, which I had talked about this movie in the past, which, by the way, finally we got a Scream Factory 4K that did reversible art. And I didn't have to pre-order it, which is cool. They should do that more often. It shouldn't have to be, well, you pre-order it in order to get reversible art. And it's actually some pretty cool artwork. Sorry if that was harsh. I bumped into the stand. But pretty cool. Comic booky type of artwork, which is pretty neat. Now, Creepshow, like I said, this is one of my favorites to watch around this time of the year. I always pop it in around October. I think it really fits the season. I love that cover. It's just weird. This movie, even just looking at that cover, it's nostalgia. A lot of nostalgia with this movie. I can't lie. I love the movie, but there is a lot of nostalgia there because I used to have the old school cardboard DVD, like the flap that comes out and the little DVD on the inside. I used to have that. I had that for so long. I had that for probably close to a decade and a half. I had it for forever. And I used to watch that a lot as a kid, and this was one of those horror films that as a kid was always a lot of fun to watch, and it scared me, but it also had a lot of humor in it. So it wasn't really like it was super, super dark and, gonna be traumatized or anything like that. So growing up, I used to watch Creepshow a lot, and it was always one of my favorites. And I guess technically speaking, this is the first George Romero movie I ever seen. Because I seen Night of the Living Dead not long after this, Dawn of the Dead not long after that, maybe caught Day of the Dead on TV one time. But this is the first time I sat down and watched a George Romero movie was Creepshow. Now this one gets a 6.8 on IMDb. Like I said, written by George Romero or written by Stephen King and directed by George Romero. Now that's the big thing about this movie is you have two minds of horror. You have two masters of it, one in the realm of film, one in the realm of storytelling and being an author, being a writer, which of course Stephen King would go on to direct Maximum Overdrive and delve into more screenplays and stuff like that. This is really, I think, one of the first times that Stephen King was given the opportunity to write a screenplay and be involved with the film. Maybe it wasn't, but I'm pretty sure it was. And this was a big deal back when it came out. It was a pretty big hit financially, critically. A lot of people loved Creepshow back in the day, and Creepshow today has a very solid fan base. Plenty of people still put it over and still say it's a classic, and that's awesome because I definitely agree with them. I think this movie is probably my favorite anthology movie. That's hard to pick because there's a lot of good ones. I personally really enjoy the VHS movies. I've seen the old school 70s Tales from the Crypt, and I thought it was okay. I don't know if it's as good as the other ones, but I thought it was okay. But this is just on a whim thinking about this is probably my favorite anthology film. There's a lot of good ones out there, though. I'm a big fan of this subgenre, and I really do hope that we get more anthology movies, which is why I'm glad that VHS is a thing, because due to the VHS franchise, we get, almost every year now, we've been getting, 94, 85, 99. So it's cool that VHS is keeping that going, and I've loved all of them. I really enjoyed 94, really enjoyed 99, and I haven't seen 85 yet, but I really want to. Maybe I can watch that sometime here soon. But I haven't gotten to the story yet. It's Creepshow, guys. It's Creepshow. It's freaking Creepshow. If you haven't seen Creepshow, don't even watch this review. Go out and watch the movie, then come back to me. Because this film needs to be seen by people. If you haven't seen it, it's a classic. It's fun. It's a blast. It's the most fun you'll ever have being scared. It's a classic. And I will be talking about Creepshow 2. I am not even gonna mention Creepshow 3 beyond this point. Creepshow 3 to me doesn't exist. It's horrible. It's shitty. It's awful. It's the worst horror film I've ever seen. Is Creepshow 3 so far. Now maybe there's some other ones that are contenders, but Creepshow 3 so far is the worst horror movie I've ever seen. So that's my thoughts on Creepshow 3. I did a really awful rant on it back in the day because my audio was terrible, my video was terrible. So if you want to go see my full mega ultra freaking rant that I did on Creepshow 3, you're more than welcome to. If I remember, I'll link it down below, but I don't. There's a lot of links and stuff I got to put in the description. So if I don't remember, I apologize, but I will try to get that link to you guys down below. If the video is still up, I don't even know if it's still up or not. I made that one a while ago. But yeah, Creepshow 3 to me doesn't exist. It's Creepshow 1 and 2. And of course, there is a show, which I haven't seen yet, but I actually do want to make it a point to see that show here soon because I've heard some good things about it. But Creepshow, I mean, I'm just scrolling down this cast, and it's just legendary. Adrienne Barbeau, Hal Holbrook, Leslie Nielsen, Ed Harris. You got Stephen King playing Jordy Verrill, Ted Danson, Galen Ross. Just a lot of great people in this cast. Easily one of the best casts in horror film history. And you've got different segments that are sort of based off of the old school Tales from the Crypt stuff from the 60s and the 50s, the EC comics, I believe is what it's called, EC, not DC, EC comics. Maybe. I haven't read EC comics. I'm like the last person in the world to talk to about EC comics. I've never read one in my life, but this was sort of based off of that, and I'm honestly surprised they never made this into a comic book series, because I think it could have really fit, and why not? But maybe they did make it into a comic book series. I don't know. But you basically got a various, different segments, and each one, the thing with these old school comics, these old school horror comics, is that they were morality tales. They were tales about people who were doing wrong and thus got punished for it, and got their just desserts, and there was always a message at the end of the story. And the first story we have is Father's Day, which is one that is a lot of fun and I really enjoy. Which essentially what it is that on one Father's Day, this guy, this rich asshole, this dude is just such a piece of crap to his daughter, who kills him because he just, where is my cake? Where is my Father's Day cake? You bitch! And she freaking takes this ashtray and bonks him over the head and kills him. And he comes back as a zombie and gets his revenge. The second story, I believe, is The Lonesome Death of Jordy Verrill, I want to say. Which is a story where Stephen King, a meteorite lands, and he gets this sort of like fungus on him, and it grows all over his body. It's another really good one. It's a fun one. It's I like how they threw that one in there, just kind of, make the tone a bit different. Then I think the next one is The Crate, or is it Something That Tied You Over? I'm going to say it's Something That Tied You Over. I think that's the third one, which is the one with Leslie Nielsen and Ted Danson and Galen Ross. Oh, also Ed Harris is in this movie. I don't know if I mentioned that. And E.G. Marshall, who I think is... Yeah, I think he's like the villain, and they're creeping up on. We'll get to that one in a second. But in this one, you got you got Ted Danson, of course, became a huge star in the 80s. I mean, he's probably one of the biggest stars from that decade. And he's in a really early role here. Basically, you find out he's messing around with Leslie Nielsen's girl. And as punishment, he buries Ted Danson all the way up to his neck in sand, or has him bury himself, and leaves him there for the tide to get him. And Ted Danson vows revenge, and basically, him and Galen Ross, they end up dying. They come back and they get revenge on Leslie Nielsen. And that was another great one. I mean, I don't have one bad segment in this first Creepshow movie. I think they're all excellent segments. And Leslie Nielsen losing his mind, I mean, that was a lot of fun. Him in his house just going crazy. Then I think the next story is the crate. You have this monster and this crate hidden under these stairs at a university. Of course, the monster has been dubbed Fluffy. Essentially, you got Hal Holbrook. He has his wife, Wilma, played by Adrienne Barbeau, in a very different role here. Very nasty character. And this dude, Hal Holbrook, like, fantasizes about killing her, and she's just so annoying. She hates him. You know, it just, no matter what he does, she just absolutely hates this character, Henry. And essentially, Henry sacrifices Wilma to Fluffy, and then he throws the crate into this river, and the crate opens, and you could, probably assume that they could have made a sequel to the crate, which they never did, but, there's room there for a sequel to it. And that one was very, acting heavy, effects heavy when the Fluffy creature is shown. I remember as a kid, that first glimpse you get at the creature, which is sort of this baboon-looking creature with sharp teeth, that always creeped me out. That always scared the living shit out of me as a kid. That first shot. I mean, I love that creature is alive. It's not a puppet. It's not an animatronic. It's not a mask. It's alive. The saliva, the razor sharp teeth, the eyes, scared the shit out of me as a kid. And just the way he bites this dude and just gashes his face. I don't know. That always bothered me. Just taking a literal chunk out of some guy's face. One of the more brutal deaths in a horror film. So that's also a great segment. And then the last segment is They're Creeping Up on You, which is a story about this really awful human being played by E.G. Marshall, this guy who's such a cheapskate, such a terrible, terrible person. He's literally having people that work for him, he's depressing them so much they are killing themselves. The wife will call him, like, you son of a bitch, he killed himself because of you, and he just doesn't care. He's like, oh, really, he did finally. He doesn't even give a shit. These people are just upset that he's ruining lives. And he ends up having a cockroach problem. And, these cockroaches just show up more and more. Real bugs, real live insects, cockroaches, nasty ones. And that's a big reason why I commend this movie, too, is for all the other reasons, but they also used live cockroaches. Now, yes, a couple of them got loose and maybe caused some infestations in other places. That's a big shame. That's a big shame, big problem. But nevertheless, the movie, for the film, it really adds, because it's real. It's not fake. They didn't use little rubber, cockroaches that run across, all cheesy. They didn't use CG, which they would do now. Which I get why they would do it now, because it'd be easier, but it's very effective that they use real cockroaches. And I hate bugs. I hate cockroaches. I can't stand them. They just gross me out. So this segment, just for anybody that has the heebie-jeebies over bugs and insects and stuff, it's effective. It's creepy. It's skin-crawling, and it's very, very, very effective. And I think that the lead character in this story, E.G. Marshall, him getting his just desserts, the ending of the segment, basically the cockroaches explode out of his chest and out of his head, and he becomes engulfed in cockroaches. They kill him. So I thought that was a very, very effective scene, very good ending. And you also have a wraparound segment where Tom Atkins is there, and you find out that his son has a voodoo doll and stabs a voodoo doll and kills him, which that kid is Joe Hill, who's the son of Stephen King, who would go on to do The Black Phone and various other stories. And I don't think he made the movie. I'm pretty sure he's just the author of the book. But, he'd go on to make a couple of other stories of his own. And Creepshow, I love it. I love it to death. I can't say that I love it, enough. I absolutely think the music is wonderful. The editing is so cool in this movie. The usage of the background changing, the camera tilting, and hearing, seeing the little speech bubbles pop up and the little dialogue inside the speech bubbles. Very creative stuff. I love the idea of it, the way they made it, look like a comic book brought to life. It's very, very well directed by George Romero, and I think it's pretty well written by Stephen King. I think Stephen King does a pretty fun job in his segment. I highly enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a masterpiece to me. It's my favorite horror anthology. It's got great special effects, wonderful cast. Just the perfect anthology. A lot of fun. So I'm going to give Creepshow a solid 5 out of 5. Probably no surprise there, but 5 out of 5 for me. I love Creepshow. And that's why I always feel bad for this one, and I will review this one soon, so this review's coming. I always feel so bad for Creepshow 2, because I'm like, y'all did the best you could with what you had. Effort was there. They tried their best. But it just doesn't compare. I love it. I really like Creepshow 2. But this one, it's such a magnum opus. I always feel bad for Creepshow 2 because it had less money, less time, less studio backing. But this one, I love Creepshow 1. What a fun flick. But yeah, anyways, if you guys haven't seen Creepshow, check it out. If you have seen Creepshow, comment down below your guys' thoughts on the film. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Take care. And the Explorer of Horror is out. See you guys later. Peace.